Hello and welcome back. So for this video, we're going to be finding the derivative of y equals x squared times the inverse sine of the square root of x. And again, before you jump into a derivative problem, it's always good to make sure that you're looking at what rules you're going to be applying. So in this video, you'll be thinking about some rules that would have multiplication and the chain rule. Because we see that we have x squared times the inverse sine, so therefore that's our product rule. And we have the square root function embedded inside of our sine inverse function, so that's a composition. So first thing we should probably do is recall from earlier lessons the derivative of the inverse sine function. So that function alone has the derivative formula of 1 over the square root of 1 minus u squared times u prime. And again, that is the chain rule for the inverse sine function. So now let's go and focus our attention on y prime. Y prime is going to require the product rule. The derivative of the first function is going to be x squared derivative, which is 2x. That is now multiplied with the other function, inverse sine of the square root of x. Then product rule has plus, and then our first function is x squared. And now we need to take the derivative of the inverse sine of the square root of x. So using our chain rule idea, it's going to be 1 over the square root of 1 minus the square root of x squared. And then we're going to be multiplying by the derivative of the square root of x, which we know is going to be 1/2 times x to the negative 1/2 power. So in simplifying this down, we're going to have y prime is equal to 2x inverse sine of square root of x, and then we're going to have a second term which is going to have an x squared in the numerator, and it's going to have a 2 and a square root of x and a square root of 1 minus x in the denominator. And we can of course get common denominators for these two fractions here. That would require us to multiply the top and bottom of the first fraction by 2 square root x square root 1 minus x and leave the other one the same. So in doing so, that would be y prime is equal to the original 2x inverse sine of the square root of x, and then multiplied by our denominator over there, which is another 2, a square root of x, square root 1 minus x, and that's going to be added with our original x squared as our numerator, and then our denominator is going to be 2 square root x square root 1 minus x. And now if we combine and clean up some of these product terms, we're going to have the two 2's multiplying to make a 4, and then we're going to have an x, and then we're going to have the square root of x and the square root of 1 minus x times the inverse sine of x plus an x squared all over 2 square root x square root 1 minus x. And we really can't do anything more with this derivative answer. So therefore we found the derivative of that function using both the product rule and the chain rule.